Hey everybody, it's me again. Sorry I haven't came out with the video yet. I'm actually working on it for a little bit. But besides the main channel videos, you already know I'm still posting here. I'm doing my thing. But I feel like it's a very important video for me to make here because I have something I need to say and need to address. And that is, love changes you, man. Love really changes you. And what I mean by that is, I might as well just jump right into it. For the majority of my life, I never properly had a partner per se. I had, girls that would date me for a month and then disappear. There was one girl I was hoping to date when I was in high school. We talked for like a year. We'd have a month and maybe I'd say something stupid. There's a good chance I'd said something stupid. And then she got turned off of me and then, stops talking to me, which fucking broke my heart, right? At that point in time, I didn't really have many friends, so I was very upset about that. But when around 2-3 years ago, I decided for myself, I'm not going to live a life with all of the friends I could have wanted, but not have a partner. I wanted to prove to myself I can find myself a partner. And as I would date more and more, I'd eventually meet more women, and maybe the relationships would last longer, maybe like 2-3 more months. But despite that, I obviously was noticing improvement, but no one really stayed. And I want to talk about what really made the change for me to become the man I am today, especially with my partner. It was the woman I was dating right before my partner. It was very tumultuous, and it was honestly because I wouldn't want to say it for the woman herself because, I'm not that type of person. But I will say, though, that she was definitely going through some things personally in her life, which is not a problem, of course, but it wasn't something that was necessarily disclosed with me, nor did we work around it in our relationship. So it just didn't necessarily work out. We were dating for like 2-3 months, and those months were fucking nuts. But it was the last date I ever had with this woman that went so fucking piss poor. I realized why I was struggling so much to find a genuine, real partner. And in doing that, I realized while we were on this date, it was a lot about me. I was very much more obsessed about me, how I thought a joke was going to land, how I was going to enjoy the dating, like the area in which we were dating, how I felt about the price for dinner, even though it was $40 for a buffet, which overall is a really fucking good price. I took you to a buffet! Come on! And we said we were going on a buffet too, so it's not like this woman wasn't under the assumption that we were going to spend a decent amount of money on food. For a buffet, it's pretty fucking cheap too, especially in Canada. But point being is, I go on a date with this woman and it goes absolutely horribly, and on the transit ride home, I just wanted to cry. I was about to cry because of how fucking bad it went. But on that transit ride, I'd realized in that moment that from that day onward, I realized I was inherently being selfish in all of my relationships. Give me a second. The relationships I was getting into inherently were revolving around a place of lack within myself. I didn't feel as though... Sorry, oh my god, give me a second. I was just being selfish. There's no better way to put it. I was inherently just feeling extremely selfish, and I realized in dating that obviously you're going to be a partnership with someone else. It's not all going to be about you. But in the span of my life until 3 years ago, I realized, or I was under the assumption that partners fall in love with you. Lil Uzi kind of did it to me too. Kind of developed that mindset for me. Because in one of his songs, in Do What I Want, he says, I can do anything and I won't lose her. And I thought, oh, so I can do whatever I want in a relationship and I won't lose the girl. No, you fucking idiot. No, dude. But, eventually I'd meet the partner I'm with today, and initially when we were starting to date, I sat down, after we officially made it like a thing that we were boyfriend and girlfriend, not just dating, which was entirely my whole life. There was only like a few people that actually called me their boyfriend for like 3 weeks to a month, but this time it was finally going somewhere, and right after that time, I went, thank God, and I rested on my bed. I still, loved her, don't get me wrong, but it was never going any deeper than that. I was just totally content and fine with the relationship. But as I began to date my current partner for longer, maybe a year, 2 years now, 2.5 years now, I began to realize that I understand why people break up after a few years. Because being open and honest in a relationship takes a lot. People don't understand that. It takes a lot to be open and honest about yourself and your relationships. Even to the extent of, this might sound wild, but even like to the extent of your own personal sexual fantasies, right? Like, these things that are so extremely deep and personal to you are extremely hard to be open and honest with about another person, laying your whole heart out on your sleeve for someone and seeing if they reciprocate. And I'm honestly lucky, you know, I'm very lucky to have my partner, because my partner understands me, she feels me, and just even recently too, we were talking about more personal things that we want in our futures, like the type of house we want, and all these different things that are really important to us. And in doing so, we actually developed our relationship and bond way stronger. And I realized that I started developing a sort of fantasy in my head of giving this girl whatever she wants, giving my partner whatever she wants. And I sat there and thought to myself, like, okay, I want to give her all these things, the clothes she wants, the house she wants. I want to give her all these things. But why does it make me feel so good? You know what I mean? Because in a way I felt guilty. It felt as though, you know, maybe I'm just subjugating myself to just being a provider and I can't be my own person. But I realized that in being in a long-term relationship, and one which is very open and reflective and transparent, I realized I fell in love not with spoiling my girlfriend, but giving her what she wants, like being that provider role, you know. And I realized that a lot of the goals that I have right now, even this myself, like with YouTube, serves as a time capsule of who I am today to where I will be in the future, right? So in like 5-7 years time, I'm gonna look back on this YouTube channel and I can see the person I am today talking about this and seeing myself grow within this relationship. And even, God forbid, something happens where this relationship doesn't work out, I love the idea of setting myself up to be the perfect partner, the perfect provider for the woman in my life. I realized as a man, I am empowered by my strength to protect the women in my life, and I want to take that tenfold in my life by being the best provider, having a job where I can put things on pause for a month just to take my girl out on a trip that she wanted to do. You know, have the money to just randomly go to Tokyo whenever I want, or whenever she wants, you know? Just randomly be able to put my work on hold at home to take my girl out on a shopping spree. I realize that these things may seem superficial, but it comes out of a place of me wanting to take care of this beautiful, nurturing woman in my life. I want to maximize, or not so much maximize, I want to be the most fullest man I possibly can be for my partner. And I would never have gotten to this point or even realized this if it weren't for the fact that I continued to date my partner to where I am today with her. And I love her for that. And even talking to my partner about this, she loves this. She loves hearing this from me. And I'm so glad to be in this position. But I realized that this feeling I have never came from any other partner except for her. I have developed this feeling of giving her whatever she wants from dating someone who's me, you know, like for me. She very much is the partner for me because we both share very similar interests, and we're interested in learning each other's interests. We've very much developed a relationship where we're very happy and content with one another. And honestly, I feel as though a lot of people don't have that in their lives. They have relationships that, yeah, their woman is more so an object of their sexual fantasy, but they aren't their best friend. You can't call them when your homeboys are falling out, you know what I mean? My girl, on the other hand, I can call her whenever I need anything, you know, and she can do the same thing with me because I love that woman. So in that very sense, I've managed to find somebody that I deeply love and care for, and as a man, I want to empower myself to nurture this woman while in doing so, achieving my personal goals. Because achieving my personal goals while being the best partner for her makes me feel so much better as a man, instead of bringing people down or, you know, being a bully or anything. Because I noticed that a lot of men sometimes, if they haven't had a very nice childhood or they feel as though they are excluded, when they have an opportunity to join a community, they will become a bully. They'll ostracize others because they feel as though they never belong. So they want to bring that or bestow that onto others because they believe they need to go through it because they went through it, right? But that's not how it works. That's not entirely true. The way I see it is that I was in a similar position. I'm a fucking nerd, bro. In high school, I was eating food underneath the stairwell with this one chick that was cool with me. You know what I mean? That was like my whole life. I was an actual delinquent. I hung out with delinquents. And now that I'm older, I realize that instead of being bitter and hateful to the people who had a good childhood, which, to you know what, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm still fucking jealous. You know what I mean? I wish I went through, like, was fucking popular, got invited to parties. I wish that was me, bro. That wasn't me, bro. Not now. I am that, but before I wasn't that. You know what I mean? But in any case, I'm now in a place where I have a beautiful, loving partner, and I'm starting to develop new friends that support me on my journey, no matter what. And I'm realizing that what typically happens is what you're denied as a kid, you typically want to bring that negativity or positivity onto others. So let's say, for instance, someone like me, right? I never really had many friends growing up, so I resorted to YouTube. What I could do was destroy other people's friendships or just be an overall negative person, try to fuck over as many relationships as possible. You know what I'm saying? But instead, alternatively, I want to do YouTube. I wanted to do YouTube because I saw it as an opportunity for me to make other people have friends and not go through the same shit I went through, you know? And now I'm at an age where I'm developing a new friend group, and I'm in a place where I'm very much loved and appreciated for who I am. And with that, I'm able to give that to others to the greatest extent with my partner. In a way, I'm able to give my partner the love that I never truly felt as a kid. And to me, that's beautiful. And I think the whole reason why I wanted to make this video for anyone who watches is that you should be aspiring to have a partner like this yourself. If you can't find a partner that isn't your best friend, that isn't your absolute soulmate, you won't feel the way I feel. But I'm telling you, real men here will know. Anyone that has a partner that they've been with long term and love deeply definitely feels the way I feel. You want to give yourself all to this partner. You want to do everything for her. And luckily enough, my goals for myself and my physique and my wealth all are they're all shared with my partner. And I'm so utterly grateful to have her. And in any case, I don't even know what else I could say. I just feel as though for anyone who watches this and is aspiring to get into a relationship, really take your time. You can be picky, bro. That doesn't mean it's got to be 6 foot or like she's got to be 5'4" and fucking Asian or something. No, like don't be too particular with it. For me, like I fell in love with my woman's culture rather than her skin tone, and that was just an added bonus. Obviously, I found her skin tone attractive, but if a Russian woman was from the Caribbean, like from the islands, you know, she was an island gal, you know, I would fall in love with that Asian Russian woman. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I fall in love with the culture of a person. You know. But point being is, whoever watches this video and is looking to get into a long-term relationship, please make sure you choose someone that shares the same moral values as you and pretty much is the closest to perfect puzzle piece to match your life. If that isn't a perfect match and you're just dating someone because they're just this status object for you, then who are you, man? You're not no man. You're not no provider. You're just it's like buying a Picasso painting. You're just putting it up on the wall to look at it every now and then. You don't have actual feelings towards the painting. It's just on the wall. It's just around you. And honestly, that's a vapid relationship. Dating a woman just because of her objectivity is like dating a fucking painting. You know what I mean? Look at that canvas painting over there. You know what I mean? Like dating a woman just for her sexual gratification is just like dating that painting right there. It doesn't have any feelings. You don't care about its feelings. You care about how it looks. And that's sad. And that means your effort as a man isn't fully either developed or realized because you're actively stunting your growth. Point being is, take the time and find someone you can love deeply, and you're going to feel the exact way I feel. And I'm so glad to share this with the world. In any case, like, comment, subscribe, all that nonsense. I love y'all. Videos every 3 days. Peace out, bitches.